So hello world, my name is Amelia and welcome to another entry into my YouTube channel because this is that social experiment that I'm doing called YouTube, So anyways, I don't actually have a whole lot of time to be making a video this week. So I apologize, this video is not like super well made or, I don't know, I guess the word be pre-researched or put together, even though all my videos up until now have basically been free ranting. So I'm actually going to be at a convention later in September. I'm going to be at RamenCon in South Bend, Indiana. And no, that was not a plug to be like, hey, go visit a YouTuber, because honestly, I don't really consider myself a YouTuber yet. We're getting there. I'm getting there. So anyways, I just wanted to start this video out by saying to anybody who's watching it, you are valid. Why do I say that? Well, it started about a week ago. This seems like a very odd way for me to be starting out this video already. So, I started out, it was about a week ago. For those of you who know, I post very heavily on Reddit. I'm a huge Reddit poster. I've been posting my progress photos and kind of posting, woo, I'm happy about this, and woo, I'm happy about that, and whoa, look at my progress, even though there's probably, to some people, there's probably not a whole lot of progress, people who sit there and look at me and they're like, yeah, you don't look any different than you did when you started. Thank you. That really helped with my self-confidence. So I guess you can say this kind of started with the fact that there are two subreddits that I try to stay away from, even though I have posted on one of them just because I'm that kind of social deviant, and that is the trans passing subreddit and the trans voice subreddit. Because something that I do not like about those subreddits is when you post on there and you say things, hey, is my voice passable? Do I look like I'm passable? They're not gonna tell you you're passable. Honestly, I have a theory that even if a cis female was to post on there and said, am I passable? They would probably say, nope, you still look like a man. That's because they know that you're trans. Yeah, I realize there's probably a lot of people on there that are just being cruel, but that's kind of what it comes down to. And that's kind of the point I want to get to here. And yes, I am being a ranting maniac today. Let's hope that's gonna be okay. I don't know, maybe this is gonna be a new popular style for me. So anyways, I want to start with voice. So as many of you can tell, this is how I pretty much talk. This has been pretty natural for me. I have been one of the lucky people because my voice was pretty much kind of higher for most of my life. I can remember up till about the age of 18, I'd pick up the phone and there was a lot of people that actually thought I was my mom. I, at the time, did not realize the benefit that actually gave me. Now I realize I actually really much appreciate that. So I have been working on my voice. It hasn't really been training, it's just this is kind of the pitch that I eventually got to. When I first started using my voice, I was kind of more like this. I was talking more like this, and probably not so much falsetto. But what I noticed is it wasn't about if my voice was passable. It was about the fact that my mannerisms and my confidence got people to gender me correctly. And that's what I want to start out by saying to any trans people listening. So something that is very important about voice is being able to be confident in the voice. You don't necessarily have to have a perfectly female voice in order to be passable. I have found for myself that just going in public and talking confidently, not being like shy and just being like, yeah, okay. No, it's talking like I am to this camera right now. Walking into places that has, honestly, I've gone through drive-thrus, I have made phone calls, and thirdly, I have seen people face to face who I know for a fact my voice has been the selling factor to my gender. So, I get mammed on the phone quite often. I've been mammed in the drive-thru, so that's always a positive thing. But my point is that it's about mannerisms and it's about that confidence. That's my first problem with trans voice. Most people are listening to the voice, they are not listening to the mannerisms or how you talk, especially when you're reading some of the things like, what is it, the Rainbow Passage or something like that. I've rarely looked at it, so forgive me if I am quoting that wrong, because I think it's a very famous passage. For myself, they are looking, the problem is that they are looking on that subreddit, they are looking for the flaws in your voice. And that's why if you ever post on that subreddit and you're like, am my voice passable? They will usually say no. Same thing goes with your appearance on the trans passing subreddit. You post and you're like, am I passable? Well, you have a big brow. You have a terrible hairline. Your nose is too big. Let me point out that there are actually some cis females out there that have those features. I know plenty of cis females who actually have terrible hairlines, but they end up surviving it. So that's not something that trans women should necessarily be too concerned with. I do know it is something that can be dysphoric. Obviously, there are things that I'm concerned about because obviously I have passing issues, but I do get gendered correctly quite often. Next thing, which is going to start getting outside of those Reddits I was talking about, is just mannerisms in general. Having confidence in who you are. Just confidence when you go and talk to somebody. So, something, I don't exactly know how to put this. Because having those mannerisms, you need to be not only confident in them, you need to also not force them. I know plenty of trans women who are not passable with their mannerisms because they force them. Mannerisms are something that comes naturally. You watch anybody who has certain mannerisms, they are usually a much more natural thing. Like the way I am talking and acting right now is natural for me. That's just how I act. This is something that I have made a part of myself. When you start trying to force those mannerisms, that's when it can start going wrong and people do not, they see through it. I know it's a harsh reality, but that's how society works. That's why when there are people who go out there and they start trying to put on that false appearance, things don't, people might misgender them a lot. And again, I realize it'd be nice if society was a perfect world where everybody was, but, it's something, it is human nature, how we are gendered. And it would be great if things could just be fixed. But they're not. We are honestly people, trans women and trans men, we are honestly people who were born in a very unfortunate situation. It would be great if we were born as who we who we identify as, who we know we are on the inside. I mean, it'd be great if it could save us all that hardship. But the point is that you need to, wow. I hate it when I start talking about these things and then I'm having all this like information flow. It's just how my brain likes to work. Something else that likes to happen that I notice is that it's the same thing that I used to tell people back in the day when I was a pretty devout Japanese street fashion Lolita. I have dresses that are literally hanging off camera over here that I probably one day really want to get back into wearing. I have told them there are social standards that you need to apply to. And when you do not apply to those social standards, that's when people start clocking you. That's when people start realizing that something is not right, and that's what starts making people ask questions. That's why at my job place, when I act this way and I act friendly, and I have those feminine mannerisms, it actually can help get me gendered correctly. And this is just, I guess, I don't know, take this as suggestion, take this as just my observations. But if you're a trans woman who wants to be gendered correctly more often, you need to put your body weight into it. You need to just own it. You need to own who you are. You need to just go out there and just be confident in yourself. like, I'll give the restroom as an example. It was a few months ago, so 6 months ago, almost, that I had actually switched restrooms. I had finally felt confident in myself, and didn't feel safe in the men's restroom anymore, that I finally had switched restrooms. I was and there's no problem with legality, because legally, I am female now. I think I mentioned that before. And it was just one of those things where it was a room I had not been in very often growing up. So I was always very nervous about it. And the thing is I eventually came to the realization that when you start getting very nervous and your confidence in it falls, is when it starts getting you clocked. Usually when you go in there and you don't have enough confidence, that can get you clocked. And when you go in there and you have too much confidence, which in example could be people like predators who do not actually feel real gender dysphoria. And they go in the women's restroom and they start taking selfies of themselves and start enacting, drawing attention to themselves. That not only do they get themselves, I really don't even want to say they get themselves clocked. I guess a better word would be they get themselves pegged as a weirdo, as somebody who does not belong in there. Not only do they hurt us, wow. That's the problem. Don't go in the restroom with too much confidence, but also do not go in there with not enough. You need to act more like how a cis woman would actually approach it, which is get in there, do your business, get out, wash your hands, and leave. You don't go in there and you hang out. It's a bathroom. I know there's exceptions to that rule, but I am not going to get into those right now because this video is more about just helping with that confidence and helping you have just being gendered more, more accurately. Being people seeing you as you are. The other thing is when people misgender you. I have seen suggestions online about this one. Don't respond with, well, I identify as, because any cis woman who gets misgendered, when she gets she's not going to respond with, well, I identify as a woman. Her response is going to be, I'm a girl, or I'm a woman. Or in my case, yesterday, like at my job place, I'm not allowed to correct customers, which has been very difficult for me. It's a very hard thing for me to it really is not fair, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But there are those occasions that when a customer has not been cruel, I could just tell it was a misunderstanding, that I have tried to very politely correct them. I had one customer yesterday who misgendered me, and at the end of the conversation, they ended it with, thank you, sir. And my response to them was, which I do a lot when they misgender me, but I just sat there and said, I'm not a sir, but you have a nice day anyways. I didn't make a big deal out of it. It was pretty much the equivalent of me saying I'm a girl by just saying I'm not a sir. And amazingly, they looked right at me for a split second and they said, oh, Amelia, I'm so sorry. Okay, yeah, thank you. So that's my point, in confidence. So let me try to sum up this video. Like I said, I'm a ranting maniac, and hopefully this has made sense. Somebody in the comments let me know if this video has made sense, because like I said, this is just kind of a very long video that I am making. I again really hope this video made sense to somebody. So let's try to sum this up. Confidence. Have a good amount of confidence. Know where you are. Belong. For example, like somebody who's trying to infiltrate who's a spy trying to infiltrate an enemy is usually going to infiltrate with confidence in who they are. They are not going to walk in there being kind of unsure, like, well, I don't know where that secret room is that I need to steal the secrets from. They go in with confidence. Own who you are. Do not be afraid of your appearance. Do not be... You have a heavy brow. You have a bad hairline. Own it. I give you an example of somebody. Here's just a quick example. Hopefully it takes not too long. there was a trans person I read a story about online who they were talking about how they had been transitioning for many years. And when they first started, they had their man voice, their masculine voice. They hadn't changed it yet. And they made a friend, a cis female friend, who became good friends with them. And their friend, they thought that their friend knew they were trans just based on who they were. It was several years later that they were just sitting there talking, and she made comment about being born a boy. And her friend looks at her confused, like, what are you talking about? And she finally comes out to her in that moment and she goes, "You're trans?" And she's like, "Yeah, didn't you notice my voice when you first met me? That I didn't have a feminine voice?" And her friend just looked at her and said, "No, I just assumed you had a deep voice." And that's my point. Having that confidence, selling who you are, can actually go a long way. And I hope this video was relevant to me telling you that you were valid. And hopefully you're also a trans person or a cis person who can actually take this advice, because it might actually help you. So anyways, I'm going to end this video here before this gets too out of hand. Anyways, I'm going to remind you, do not forget to check out my social media. And I'm also going to tell you, subscribe if you want to, I guess. I mean, it would be a really nice thing. I would appreciate it. So, bye. It's not something that came out of practice. I was kind of... Hi, cat. Do you have to really be bothering me right now? Thank you.